What Goldberg and the media apparatus did with Signalgate and what they're continuing doing now isn't actually solving the problem of Signal being used or of accidentally texting people. It's just it's partisan hackery.
How do we know that that hasn't stopped the use of Signal?
It hasn't stopped the use of Signal.
By elected officials, by appointed officials?
According to the 4 anonymous sources, I'm saying, in their view, it's still happening.
I don't know if that they said it was still happening. I thought that they said it was happening concurrently. I haven't read that. I have to read that.
The other issue on top of this is the second Signalgate story, which again is largely a liberal Democrat phenomenon because the right doesn't care about it. Largely.
Yeah, I mean, you can say what people
There's
care
no
about.
information as to what was in these chats. It's just vagaries. So why is this the news? This is not speaking truth to power. This is not holding anyone to account. This is not a mission. This is partisan nonsense.
I don't think it's partisan nonsense. I don't know why you're defending them. They look like fools.
I think this is the issue. You believe truth is the defense of Trump. I believe truth is truth.
Truth is the defense of Trump?
Me saying
I'm confused.
a flat statement. We don't know what's in these texts. You said, why are you defending them? I'm not. I'm saying we don't know what's in the texts.
We saw the text. They printed it.
No. Second Signalgate.
Oh, that's still to come. I mean, I have to look at the story.
Sure. When the anonymous people want to publish information, maybe they will. We can have a conversation about whether it was good or bad.
Okay. Let me see if they've actually published.
This is the issue with modern journalism today: is that dispassion is viewed as defense of Trump.
Dispassion? You're fighting me. This is passion
On truth, not Trump. I'm fighting you against the media.
You're telling me that this journalist should not have actually published these. I don't agree with you on that. I don't agree with you. I'm not talking about the corporate media. Don't try to conflate it. That's what you're trying to do. I think that in this situation, that if I had those messages, I would have done what Jeffrey Goldberg did.
Why are you defending Jeffrey Goldberg?
Because you're attacking him, and I think that I would have done what he did. I really do.
Okay. Well, I'm not defending the Trump administration's use of Signalgate.
Okay, I'm happy
Or
to
use
hear
of
that.
Signal.
That's cool. I'm happy to hear it.
Right. So my point is, when you say, why are you defending them? This has been the trope in the Trump era.
The thing that you keep saying over and over again is that Americans don't care. So this is just a made-up, manufactured story.
It's political.
And people don't care. People don't care. People don't care. People don't care. Okay, a lot of people don't care about a lot of things that matter. And we can acknowledge that.
We don't know what's in second Signalgate.
We'll find out soon.
So for what is the purpose of running the story front page in New York Times?
Because his wife is on it.
How do you know?
That's what they're reporting. 4 sources, not one, like you said.
4 anonymous sources. We don't know. We've seen no evidence.
Okay.
So why are you defending this attack against Trump? Why are you anti-Trump?
I'm not anti-Trump.
But why would you say I'm defending Trump if I said we don't know what's in them and you call that a defense? Then I call you anti-Trump.
How about this? Why, if it's not true, then why did
I don't know if it's true. I don't care.
What? Now we don't care if it's real or not.
That's my point the whole time.
No. If the second chat isn't real, like you said, and you're questioning why it's on the cover of the New York Times, why did Sean Parnell, the chief Pentagon spokesperson, not deny it? Why did he not respond to the New York Times and say,
Can't read his mind.
This is fake news? This is because they still haven't denied it.
Don't know. Can't read his mind.
They have not denied it yet. They have not, even Hegseth, which we should, if you have producers
I don't know. I can't read his mind.
We should probably play the actual video of, I could probably find it because I think I played it by accident, but we should play what Hegseth says because I don't think he's denying it again.
So my view is that we have an accusation with no evidence and there's some politicking going on.
Well, first of all, the Pentagon hasn't denied it yet.
So what?
So you're saying it's fake, but no one else has.
No, I did not say it's fake.
You're the only one saying it's fake.
I don't think you can understand what I'm saying.
No, I do understand what you're saying.
You're
saying you said it's based on one source. There are 4 people that said it was not. It's based on one source.
I genuinely think you can't understand the words that I'm saying.
I can understand the words that you're saying. You don't understand what you're saying.
I do.
Okay.
We have a political story with no evidence. Okay. For what reason is this front page news?
Because I bet you that this wouldn't be front page news, by the way, if the Pentagon just denied it. I bet you.
Can you answer the question I asked?
No. It matters. No. It matters if he's doing it again, because as we said, it was a mistake. If you commit a mistake twice, Signalgate, in your words, an accident, a mistake. If you commit,
he didn't accidentally text anybody wrong in this story.
Okay.
This story says that he's on a text chat with his wife.
With more classified.
Yeah, he didn't accidentally text a journalist again.
Okay, let's just listen to what he said, because I don't think let's see what happened. It's not about texting the journalist. It's about sharing classified information again.
How do we know he shared classified information?
Because that's what the story says, that the Pentagon is not denying.
Classified? Explicitly said that
about
he shared classified information?
forthcoming strikes. That's, again, future strikes. And like I said, when I actually gave you the definition of classified, which we can go over again, classified According to the definition of classified information, information providing indication or advance warning that the U.S. or its allies are preparing an attack. Okay, you don't want to hear what I have to say, but here's what the lead story is of the New York. Here's what the lead story is of the New York Times. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed information about forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15th in a private Signal group chat that included his wife, brother, and personal lawyer, according to 4 people with knowledge of the chat, okay? And if that, he can, he could declassify it after. You could,
no,
you could say
could never be classified.
But then here's the question: if it's not real, why not deny it? Why not deny it?
I think we're missing the forest for the trees.
I agree.
Here. And why I'm saying that is because in the second Signal chat, there wasn't a journalist added. So one might ask, oh, how did these leaks get out? It was most likely that one of the people that was fired for allegedly leaking is now continuing to leak against Hegseth because he has an axe to grind. One of the people who was fired for allegedly leaking was the same guy who was Pete Hegseth's contact man in the first Signalgate chat. So it makes sense that this guy, one of the same guys who was his contact man in the first Signalgate chat, continued leaking, got fired, and now he's continuing to leak because he has personal animus and has an axe to grind with Hegseth and the prior with the Department of Defense.
That's interesting.
Does that make sense to you? Because I think when we're doing journalism, we also need to understand why do sources come forth? Why did any of these guys come forth? Because again, they're disgruntled employees with an axe to grind.
You don't think they also are concerned about the way that the Department of Defense is being run?
No, not one. I don't think they give a shit at all. I think these are guys who didn't want us to attack Iran and wanted us to and leaked our attack plans to the New York.
You think that? Wait. Yeah, you think that?
Well, what do you mean? I think that the New York Times did the New York. Did the New York Times
and rumor of Tucker
did the New York Times have the reporting?
You said you have a hunch.
No, I'm asking you a question. Did the New York Times have the reporting that said that we were going to attack Iran and about our attack plans for Iran? Correct.
Yeah, but you're saying who you think the source is. And why
the Department of Defense came. Pete Hegseth said these guys were the leakers. Leakers.
Yeah, he could say that.
Okay, so according to Pete Hegseth, the leader of the Pentagon, right?
Yeah, but he also says a lot of things. Like he denied the last thing. I mean,
so no, I think it's pretty obvious too, because again, these guys were fired. And again, if you looked at the Signal chat, which you were reading to us earlier, you'd see the name of one of the people who was fired was his contact man there. So obviously there's an axe to grind and it's a disgruntled employee. And if you were a good journalist, you'd know that this actually comes up all the time. Half of the sources for people are just people who are pissed off at others and people in their company. All of these sources are former.
Listen, I agree with you that there are a lot of people.
No, but that's what we're missing here, that this is really about Iran and and the Iran nuclear deal and the JCPOA Part 2 potentially. And I think we're missing that the story here is about those two camps fighting within the Department of Defense. The establishment media would rather run with this and say the whole department is disarray because they want to just slander Trump. And here's the real issue here. Tomorrow, potentially, when Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has a press briefing, the first 80% of the questions are going to be on this essential non-story that, again, I don't think matters to most Americans. I think most Americans are worried about the economy. I think most Americans are worried about safety.
And I think the question is, in any investigation, is cui bono?
What's that? Cui bono?
Yes.
What is that Latin for?
For who is to gain.
Okay.
So when a source comes forward with a story, the question is for who is to gain. If there was a story about toxic sludge being put in our milk and kids are going to drink it, the person who is to gain largely is the people who are saved from drinking it.
Right, yeah.
But the source who comes forward, what is their motivation? What do they gain by bringing this story forward?
Maybe they are actually whistleblowers. Do you believe in good people?
For most people, it's because, holy crap, kids are going to die from this.
Yeah, some people are good people.
In a story like this, with 4 anonymous sources about a Signal chat with information that Hegseth is allowed to disclose, who gains? What is gained from this?
I mean, it's unclear if he's really allowed to disclose it, though.
No, it's not. He's the head of the DOD. He decides what operations are going to be classified.
Also, aren't you concerned about him disclosing that kind of stuff?
To his wife? No.
And not just his wife, his brother and his lawyer?
Yeah, no. His brother, isn't his brother also listed as like one of his advisors or legal counsel?
Which is also weird nepotism.
Should make sense for his lawyer to be
that's
there.
heavily biased.
Why is that heavily biased? If that happened in the Biden administration, you'd be like, what the fuck is happening right now?
2 of my brothers work for my company.
Okay.
Why wouldn't I hire people I know and trust?
Because you are in a private company. This is public.
So what?
This is the government. This is the American taxpayers
they mention it's in
paying
his-
their salaries. There are
they-
anti-nepotism laws out there. You know that,
You
right?
hate this administration
no,
so much.
I don't. Why do you keep saying that?
Because
I do
no
not.
matter what comes up, you don't ask basic
You
questions.
want to know why?
You just keep
Tim,
attacking the administration.
I'm not a Girl Scout, okay? I don't like any administrations for any reasons. I am here to
You're
get down
biased.
to the bottom of it. Not the Trump administration or the Biden administration or any administration. I've never been a cheerleader, okay?
This is the CNN
not
ethos.
No, it's not. I
It
don't
in fact is.
I am listen.
Christian Amanpour at News Exchange in Morocco said
Okay.
that this is the idea that the people in power are always bad. And she went on to add that can't always be the case, can it?
I
This
don't think
mentality
all
that Trump
people
is always evil is
No, no,
insane.
Listen, I'm not saying that
Hegseth
Trump-
is wrong no matter what he does.
I am not saying that everyone is always wrong, but I think that you need to hold power to account. That is our right.
As you define it.
Sure, if you think that they're not powerful people, fine.
They certainly are, but I think the corporate media is substantially worse.
I am not a part of the corporate media. Stop telling me. I haven't worked in the corporate
When
media
did I-
in 2 or 3 years
when-
from now.
When in that statement did I say you as part of the corporate media are worse?
Because you keep being like, I'm a defender of the corporate media. I'm a defender of journalism. Okay, and sometimes good journalism is committed at corporate media.
We define this as factual but not truthful.
What do you mean?
It means that you will say things that are only technically correct to mislead the audience.
I feel like you're doing that all the time.
How?
I mean, you are actually saying unfactual things too.
What?
Like when you said that there was only one anonymous.
Is that the
person
only
in
thing
New
you
York.
got?
And there were other things as well, but I can
what?
remember
Come
that.
on. You're really latching onto me misstating one detail of a story that just came out today.
You want to know? You know what the things that are unfactual that you say? The attacks on me.
What?
Those are unfactual.
Those are opinions.
I still think that they're unfactual opinions.
Okay, well, opinions aren't facts.
And
And my opinion based on the way you behave is an opinion based on the way you behave.
My opinion, based on the way you behave, is very unfair.
I think you're heavily biased, and instead of assessing the facts
I
of a
think
case,
you're really biased. Your bias, though, is towards defending the administration.
it's so once
So
again,
you're acting like you work for them. You might as well be Caroline Levitt, and I would not want to be that. I just think
you're
that's
overly
so
emotional.
lame. I think that is so lame.
lame is an ad hominem.
Okay.
Instead of saying
That's an ad hominem attack.
benefits
I'm
from the-
emotional, but
who
lame
benefits
isn't-
from the leak?
Emotional versus lame. I would rather be emotional.
emotional is a
rather than
fact
lame.
statement, lame is an ad hominem.
Okay, sure.
Who benefits from leaking the story about Hegseth in the second signal chat? What is the purpose of this story?
It shows the American people that they are continuing to do the mistake that they did the first time.
There's no journalist on this chat
And also,
There's no journalist on this chat.
why is his family on the chat?
because he talks to his family.
And why does his family need to know in advance about an attack on a country?
Maybe he's saying, I'm going to work and I've got a meeting because there's going to be something happening in Yemen.
I don't understand why they would need to have the details.
You
of an
don't
attack.
know what's in those chats. You are assuming something bad happened without
I am
evidence.
basing it on the reporting from the New York Times that the chief spokesperson to the Pentagon has not denied yet.
And you are assuming
And
it's
until
bad.
he denies it, I will assume it is true.
Why are you assuming it's
Okay.
bad? Why are you assuming it's bad?
It sounds great.
Why are you assuming it's a bad
I
thing?
think it's a great thing. No, it's not a great thing for to share details of an attack with your family member.
You don't know what's in the texts.
We know
This
that-
is why
we know
all
what's
of
in the
these outlets
no,
got
no, no, no,
obliterated
no,
on the
no,
Covington
no, no,
story.
No, we do know.
When these kids were at the
When-
Lincoln Memorial,
why-
all of the corporate press rushed to do exactly what you're doing. Instead of actually waiting till we know what's going on, we're going to assume every degree of this that it was wrong and bad. And that's what separates me from them. And that's what separates the new media sphere, people who are actually saying, well, what happened? What are the facts of the case? And the people saying, I don't care, I just know it's bad. Okay, well, I don't know it's bad. I don't know what happened. Which is the same deal with the Carmelo Anthony story, which many on the right jumped on. We have a police report with 33 witnesses and 2 statements. It sounds bad, but we don't have all the details. Why has the corporate press for 20 some odd years assumed, or let's just do this. During the Trump administration years, the corporate press has assumed every single instance has been framed negatively against Trump. We now have the Maryland man hoax. We had obviously the Very Fine People hoax. We had the injecting bleach hoax. It's always the worst possible interpretation, no matter what. Why couldn't Jeffrey Goldberg say, guys, don't put me on this chat? And there's not a story that doesn't need to be brought up.
Okay, I just found something that I remembered. So with the whole thing with Goldberg, right? He didn't want to have to reveal the text, is what he said. He said if he had any regrets about how the story played out, he said that he wished the Trump administration hadn't challenged his first story, forcing him to write a second one with the compromising details.
So what?
Why did they have to deny it if it was real?
Deny what? That it was war plans?
Deny all of it.
They denied that there were war plans.
No, they denied that day 3 after the plans came out.
What was the... You never played for us the audio of him actually saying it never happened.
By the way, qui bono means who benefits.
Right. To whom benefits.
Okay.
It's Latin. If you want to phrase it one way or the other, fine.
Okay, but here they denied it all. They called him a slime ball. They denied
Yes.
it, and then because of that,
Because he said-
he denied it, because they all denied it. He the next day just published the text.
What was his direct verbatim statement about what was included in the texts?
That was semantics. Like everyone who is watching this is smart.
I asked you
enough
a fact
to know
question.
Plans versus attacks.
That's not what I
Plans
asked.
versus attacks.
I asked you what he said was included in it. The specific details.
I'm sorry. What are you asking about? The first story or the second story?
The first story, Jeffrey Goldberg says,
Yeah.
it includes this specific information.
Yeah. He didn't give the information though. He
did outline
generalized it. He
what it was.
generalized it.
Was he wrong?
No, he
was.
wasn't. No,
He said it included locations.
it did.
It did not.
Yes, it did. It said the apartment of the guy and his girlfriend. Where it
Apartment.
was.
Which one?
Do you want me to go over and read this over again? Because I feel like your listeners are going to be bored.
Does the word apartment identify which apartment and where?
Dude, I'm going to play it. I'm going to read it again if you're going to make me do this.
Because you can't understand that house. I'm going to go to a house. Does that tell you where and when I'll be somewhere? What city I'll be in? What state I'll be in? What country?
Okay.
So to say that we have the locations of strikes and then you don't have them?
Strike Jones on target. This when the first bombs will definitely drop.
Where?
Pending earlier triggered base
Where?
targets. Second strike starts. Also first sea-based Tomahawks launched. More to follow per timeline. Okay.
Where?
Let's keep going.
I know I asked you where. Why are you reading random
BP
things?
building collapsed.
Why are you reading random things?
I'm not reading random
I'm
things.
asking
I'm
you
reading
for a
the text
location.
message. I'm reading through it. Do you think I have this on the back of my head? I don't just spew things out of my head. I actually like to have facts. Okay?
Apparently you don't because you had to
No,
pull it up
I'm
and you didn't
actually-
know what he said.
Yeah, because I actually want to make sure that what I say is accurate. I don't just say it just to sound excited and enthused and just say it.
I mean, I
That's not
suppose
the
you could
truth.
actually read the story before making an assertion.
I am reading the text.
Afterwards,
Semcon-
you've already made the claims for an hour and a half.
I have read it. I just don't remember the actual quotes. You're just now. You just seem like a jerk. Just so you know this, you are actually just bullying me. I am reading. CENTCOM was.
I don't know the story, so you're being a bully.
I'm not saying I don't know the
Come on,
story.
I gotta look it up.
Okay, so I'm reading it. CENTCOM was/is on point. Great job, all. More
There's
strikes
no
going
location
on
in the
for hours
texts.
tonight. Okay.
There's no location. He was wrong. That's the point. You didn't even remember what was said, but you were asserting a fact without checking.
Hold on a second.
The location is not included. Location and weapons were not included in the story. I know this because I've read it and we've covered it like 17 times. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel and we will see you all there.